Hi, I'd like to thank everyone for coming on the call today. I'm on the call. This is Vincent Woodhall from Alliance Secure. I'm on the call with Joe, who's a brand new rep up in California, Northern California area. And Joe has no sales experience in his background, and he's new to sales. And we're going to take you through the Alliance 12-step system to success. And Joe, are you on the call?
Yeah, I am. Thanks, Vince.
Great. It's good to have you here today.
Yeah, well, a little bit about Vincent Woodhall. He's a global expert in physical and cyber security. He has a degree in security law and is a retired head of country for the European Aeronautic Defense and Space Agency. And he's worked 15 years plus work experience in the security industry. Additionally, has worked and consulted in over 40 plus countries, including G4S Security Services and Security Services and ADT. He's a graduate of the United States Marine Corps Naval Aircrew Candidate School. Also, this is a regional manager for Alliance Secures Ltd. and volunteers on the government's advisory committee of the Bureau of Security and Investigative Services. Vincent has a career that spans 20 years in security and investigations, combined with sales and marketing of security technology products and services.
Hey, listen, Joe, thank you. The real point to this quick training session is that, my background is, as mentioned, is in 20 years in security sales, but we really do have a 12-step system at Alliance that can take someone through, from no experience at all to being successful in sales and security sales with very little knowledge. Really, the whole thing behind it is to have, a strong work ethic and be willing to learn. So we have a 12-step system of success, and perhaps we'll just take you through the 12, and then maybe you can start off with number 1, Joe.
All right. Well, first one is attitude, inspiration to action, and to do it now. What exactly do you mean by that, do it now?
Okay. I'll take you through very quickly. Inspiration to action, activity knowledge, and know-how. And inspiration to action really means, the motivation and, to get out and to earn the kind of money you're looking to do. It's really not something we can teach. It's the one step in the program that you either have a strong desire to succeed or you don't. The activity knowledge is what do you actually do on the day-to-day job. And then the know-how is just experience, and you really kind of gain that as you go along. But what we mean by attitude is, before we go out, this job is an activity job. It's involving, a minimum of 15 contacts per day. And when we say contacts, we mean, actually warm people that you're speaking to, either door to door in a residential community or business to business. And the right attitude really simply means, before I go out, and I still work in the field, I go out every day, and I train our representatives. And before I go out, you have to have the right mental state of mind and a positive mental attitude. I generally look at what I'm doing, not as selling. It sounds like a cliche, but it's more of a service that we're doing to the community. And I'm looking for that 1 or 2 people per day that I know are out there, are looking for our service. So, you have to have the right attitude. If you have some issues, we all have them, good and bad in our life, but when you go out on the doorstep, if you're working part-time, 4 or 5 hours a day, or full-time, you need to have that right attitude on the doorstep. And you need to realize that, the service we have, helping keep people safe, people are looking for out there. So just keeping in mind the right attitude is the right way to look at the job.
Right. And another thing under activity knowledge that is in the 12-step system here is prior preparation. Is attitude part of that prior preparation?
Sure, absolutely. Number 2 is prior preparation, and absolutely attitude, the right attitude, having the right paperwork, all of this stuff has to be done prior to going out and preparing to, where you're going to go, where you're going to work, if you have any appointments, what appointments you have that day, do you have the right, brochures, paperwork. The great thing about our job is you actually don't need to have paperwork or anything with you. You can actually just make a call, from a customer's house, run the credit check, run the installation, or provide an installation date. But you need to be prepared. You need to know where you're going to go. You know, what area I'm going to work in. What you don't want to do, and maybe that's a better way to put it, is just to go out, willy-nilly without any idea of what you're going to do. You know, you don't want to just arrive in an area, in a neighborhood, and just start chopping doors. I mean, that may work, but you want to have kind of a planned out, organized, map of where you're going to spend the day. And that's really, the prior preparation. Have the right attitude. You're absolutely right, Joe. But also know where you're going to go, who you're going to see, and have all that done prior to going out. That should be done in a non-selling time. So number 3 is to our 12-step program. Do you have that, Joe?
Yep, it's clothing.
I know it sounds, again, clothing falls under activity knowledge, and it sounds a bit pedantic to cover it off, clothing, but it really is important. The image on the doorstep, we've done studies, and psychologists say that you really have less than 2 seconds, believe it or not, when a customer opens up that door. So what we recommend at Alliance is we supply every rep in the field across America. We supply you with, a couple polo shirts that are company shirts and company baseball hats. It's your option whether you wear them or not. If you're not going to wear the company material, I would recommend at least a shirt and tie, at the doorstep. Your image is important. It's important to what people, when they see you, what they think. We supply you with a company ID badge and business cards. So, most certainly, definitely the ID badge needs to be worn. And I recommend wearing the company material we supply.
And it seems like your clothing would do a lot for whether they take you seriously or not as well.
Oh, it does. I mean, you're the security expert on the door. You're the person with the knowledge. You're the person with the image, and it adds a little bit of credibility. When I go out, and I've been doing this with Alliance for over 10 years, and I still wear the company polo shirt and the company baseball hat, and I'm out in California, so you can wear a pair of casual slacks or dress jeans, a pair of shorts even if you want, if it's too hot in the summertime. But certainly the company material gives you a little bit of credibility when that person opens the door, that you work for a nationwide company.
Right. And when you were talking about the step 2 prior preparation, part of that was having an organized, mapped out plan for where you're going to go. The fourth step is demographics of neighborhoods and how you pick your areas. How exactly do you do that, Vince?
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not written in stone. None of these steps are written in stone. They're not concrete, but they're just guidelines, for success. If you follow them, you are likely to be a lot more successful. It's been proven over 10 years worth of work in the field. Demographics are an important thing in a neighborhood. We generally try to say that I wouldn't go into the most higher demographics. Depending on what metropolitan area you're in, depending on what city or state you're working in, you want to go into a middle kind of demographic. And the reason that is you'll find more people that are home. You'll find more people that are willing to open up their door. Demographically, you want to look for the middle-class neighborhoods. If you're going into a high dem, generally the house is so large that it doesn't really fit into our model for a free security system. It doesn't mean you can't do it, and it also means you'll spend a lot more time on that doorstep and a lot more time designing a higher demographic system. In the lower demographic areas where they're really, really high crime, you would have thought that that'd be a good place to sell.
Right.
However, as you know, at Alliance, we do run a credit check system. So we found that in the lower dem areas, it's just not going to be a successful credit check. So to staying into a middle class demographic area, 4-bedroom houses, 3-bedroom houses, this is the type of area that you really want to focus on. The other thing you can do with demographics, some of our sales reps do them, and some don't. Is nowadays you can use the technology, so you can use an app. There's a great app out there called Redfin, and there's several other apps that are real estate apps. And if you have an iPhone or a smartphone, an Android, whatever it may be, I recommend downloading a couple of these apps. And Redfin's quite good because it can tell you when people have just moved into a new home. It tells you the date they moved into the new home. It tells you what they paid for it. And, you know, a lot of our reps just use that exclusively, and that goes back to step 2 with prior preparation. So what they'll do is they'll go in, they'll make a list of people they're going to see in that area, and they'll just go to the people who have just moved into a new home. So, you know, picking the right demographics, picking the right plan for your day and prior preparation is really critical, you know, to your success. Because if you follow these steps and if you have the right plan, you go in the right demographic areas, you have a prior list of people who have just moved into a home, you're likely to be a lot more successful. And that's really that's really all there is in demographics. I would stay out of the lower demographic areas and stay out of the really high demographic areas, and just stay right in the middle. And that middle depends again on your city and state and where you live. But that's number 4.
All right. And then, you talk about the middle demographic. Number 5 is about the ideal working hours
Sure.
to get people in. So,
yeah, and again, it really depends on the individual. It depends on whether you're working full-time or part-time. I always recommend, you know, that we need, the key is to have 50 contacts per day. And that 50 contacts, there is no secret to the success in this job. The 50 contacts boil down to, you know, your working hours. Some people can work 4 hours or 3 hours per day and make 50 contacts. Some people need more hours. It really just depends. The reps that we have that are working on a full-time basis are generally working from the hours of 12 o'clock noon to around 7 p.m. in the evening, and they're taking breaks in between that. So they're getting a decent shift in. They're working Monday through Friday. Some of our reps only work on the weekends. You know, it's a part-time job. So Saturdays and Sundays are great, absolutely great. You can get 8 hours in on a Saturday, you know, between the hours of 10 and 7 o'clock at night, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and the same on a Sunday. People are generally home on the weekends. So I wouldn't rule the weekends out. But certainly if you're wanting to sell, you know, successfully sell 5, you know, per week, and you know, that's, you're looking at working from, I would say, around about lunchtime to about 7 o'clock in the evening.
All right. Well, the number 6 on the system is how many contacts can you make consistently 5 sales per week? What if 50 contacts aren't enough?
Well, generally speaking, and this is the system that I've always followed, and you'll find that as your know-how and your activity knowledge gets better and you get more successful, you can actually lower that 50 contacts. But in the beginning, you know, I would say that it's crucial that you make 50 contacts per day. And a contact, again, is a warm person you've spoke to. So it's somebody you've come up, you've chapped their door, you've knocked on their door, they've opened the door, you know, you've spoke to them. Hi, I'm Joe from Alliance. We're in the area giving out a free security system. Do you have a system at the moment? You know, how old is the system? Is it connected to the police, to the fire department? And, you know, handing out your business card, whether you're getting a yes or a no or an appointment, it's 50 contacts per day. If you make your 50 contacts and you haven't made a sale, I mean, generally speaking, I would say your day is done. You know, it's a long shift to get 50 contacts in, and I would go out the next day and look for 50 contacts. Out of 50 people, statistically speaking, you're going to get a few appointments. You might not sell them on that day, but you will get a few appointments. And again, this system, the success system, is designed, all this information is designed on making 5 new contracts, 5 sales per week. And, you know, which is $5,000 a week. So, again, if you're making 250 contacts per week, Monday through Friday, or, you know, Saturday, Sunday, and a few days during the week, whatever your work schedule is, you know, statistically, you are going to at least get 5 people who are interested in either a new security system for free, an upgrade, which is a takeover to their existing system, or, you know, an appointment for a friend or family member, or even a referral. You will close statistically on average, 5 per week. So that's why we recommend 50 per day. As I say, as your time goes on, you become better at the job. You become more familiar and comfortable with what to say on the doorstep, or even in the survey inside the home. You know, you'll find that you can lower that. We have reps that only do 25 contacts per day, and they make 1 sale. It really depends. But in the beginning, it's just the 50 contacts is really just a work ethic to, again, it's not written in concrete, it's not set in stone, but it's designed to help you be successful.
I think so. But and number 7, some key things to say at the doors, and also how do you overcome objections on the doors? So how do you get those contacts?
Sure. Some of the key things that I say are, I'll knock on the door and say, "Hi, I'm Vincent from Alliance Secure. We're in the area, in the community. We're doing a service." And I really try, this goes back to step 1, with the right attitude when you're out there. I am, in the back of my mind, I'm looking for that 1 or 2 people per day that are looking for a security system. And so it really is crucial to keep that attitude. I know they're out there. I'm a hunter. I'm looking to try and find these people. So some of the things I say in the door are, we're in the area giving away a free system, security system. Do you have one at the moment? There's no rocket science to this job. It's just a straightforward numbers game. And you either get, yes, no, maybe, not interested, whatever it may be. I've always thought the worst thing that a customer could possibly do, a potential customer, is just to shut the door, which, doesn't really kill me, to be honest. If they have a system in the house, I'll say that's great. Is it monitored by the police? Is it currently monitored by the police and the fire department? Sometimes they'll look at me because a lot of systems out there with competitors are listed, certainly by the police department, but a lot of them are not connected up to the fire department. Most of our competitors don't offer that as standard, where we do at Alliance. So we're offering a fire smoke detector and also a carbon monoxide detector. So you have the CO2 and the fire connected up. And I'll ask them that. And sometimes they look at you like, why do you ask that? I mean, people will have a smoke detector, but generally speaking, it's not connected up to their intruder system. And if it is, it's not linked back to the emergency services. And I'll ask them, the question I'll ask them is, do you have two-way voice on your keypad? And again, it's just a quick question. You have two-way voice. Well, what's the relevance of that? All the customers are really concerned about is the features. And I'm sorry, we're talking about the features. They're interested in the benefit to them. And, sometimes they'll wonder why that question's being asked. And it's very quick and it's very fast. But I'll say, well, if, for example, if you're in your bedroom at night and there's a fire, the chances are you might die from smoke inhalation. You might not have the opportunity to hear that alarm. So wouldn't it be nice to have it linked to the fire department? Or conversely, if you're on vacation in Hawaii, or vacation anywhere, and your fire system goes off, if it's not linked to the fire department, what's the point in having it in there? And so These are very, very quick kind of questions I'll ask. Some of the fundamental questions I'll ask are, if they have a system, how long has it been in? When was it installed? Common sense things like, do you know who it's with? What are you paying per month? And that tells me pretty much if they're in a contract with someone else. If a customer's in a contract with a large competitor, I would, generally speaking, just leave them my business card, ask them, when they took it out, when the contract expires, and to encourage them to either give us a call or I would make a mental note or write down the note to call them back. You're better to try and find a customer who's out of contract and who's looking for a system than to get someone to breach. And it's more ethical as well that way, to just leave the ones that are in contract alone. They can't get out of the contract. And if they do breach it, they're going to be pursued by their existing provider. So I'm looking for people that are out of contract and are looking for a system. That's pretty much. On the doorstep, there aren't really any magic words to persuade someone. You're looking for someone who's just moved in. Our reps that use the apps and the technology, we're finding are pretty successful. Their approach on the doorstep is, hello, Mr. Customer, realize you've just moved in the house last week or the week before that. Have you had an opportunity to sort out your security system? I'm here to actually help you sort out the system. That seems to work pretty good because it seems to be the last thing in somebody's mind, So if you're going for the new houses and folks that have just moved in, that's a really good approach. I'm just here to arrange to, reconnect up the security system back to the police and the fire department and emergency services. Another thing I say, and then you have to say this in a pleasant way. It's down to your body language, and again, it's the know-how. You'll learn how to do this over time. But a lot of people, I'll say to them, "Are you connected up to the fire department?" No. Do you have carbon monoxide? No. And it's like, well, that's all right because it will never happen to you. Or even if I'm not connected up to the police, I'll ask them, wouldn't it be nice if there was a burglar? Unfortunately, if there's, a break into your home, wouldn't it be nice to have the ability, with the key fob to have a two-way voice or a direct panic button to the police department? Just a peace of mind, to have, to know the police are on their way. So these are some of the things that you learn in the field. But it's just a straightforward, really it is a numbers game. I keep a good attitude. I'm always smiling on the doorstep, and we're in the area just, providing a community service, and we're offering a free security system today. And that's really all I say at the doorstep. I'm looking for the people that are interested in the system as opposed to trying to persuade someone to buy it, if that makes any sense.
Right, exactly. And which kind of leads me to step 9. You say all the things right at the door, so they like what they hear. They invite you in. What exactly do you do inside the home once you're in there?
Sure. When I come in the system, come into a person's home or the business, it's pretty much the same with the commercial business as well. The very first thing I'm doing is, if they have a system, I am looking to see the keypad or the panel. So I'm asking them, do you know where the panel is? Now, a panel, for those of you that don't know, it's almost like a mini computer. It's just a little panel that has a bunch of motherboards and circuit boards inside it. And it's generally, in a home, it's generally where the electrical mains are supplied. So it's hardwired into the main system. Right. Some systems don't have panels, and it's just in the keypad. So I'm looking, the very first thing is, can you show me the keypad or can you show me the panel? And the reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to find out who the supplier is, how old the system is, and if it's compatible for us to take over. 99.9% of the time it is compatible. In a takeover, we will switch out the keypad, and if there's a hardwired panel, we'll switch out the panel. So most of the equipment, such as motion detectors and door contacts, window contacts, most of the equipment is reusable. So the very first thing I'm asking, if they have an existing system, is, again, just to recap, is to see the existing panel, and I'll make notes of what that panel is. Keep in mind, if you're new, you don't have to have too much technical knowledge, because if you're new, when you call Alliance on our toll-free number, they'll talk you through everything. So on the other end of the phone, from our credit check department, from our confirming everything with the customer department, and then to the installation department, they're going to talk the customer through everything right there in the customer's home while you're there. So if you don't really have a great knowledge of panels or electronic circuitry, you don't really need to. If they don't have a system, and even if they do, the other thing I'm doing is I'm doing a survey inside the home. And essentially, and fundamentally, all that survey is where would a break-in occur? So we want to cover certain key areas in everyone's home, which would be, the front door, any back doors, any windows, any garage doors, any separate entrances into someone's residence, and that's how a burglar would break in. So, again, we offer 6 pieces of equipment on a free system, and that does cover most homes. The other question I'm going into is then, what would they like the security system to do? So, again, I'm always covering off with a fire system, a fire smoke detector, and CO2. But more importantly, would you like to? So our basic system gives you two-way voice, and it gives a secure mobile access. And what that means is that, even if your landline is cut, the alarm system is still going to contact the fire department or the police department. But I'm then asking them, would you like the ability to be able to see, and turn the system on remotely and de-arm it? So we're going into the different pricing and different levels of service. We only have 3 or 4. So it's not too hard to remember, but it really is down to what the customer wants. If they want the ability to be able to arm and disarm the system, to have text messages or emails tell them what, if the system has been opened or shut at a certain time of day. If they want the ability to lock and unlock their doors, we're moving into home automation. So what I'm really doing is I'm just asking them what level of service they'd like. Would they like video cameras? Do they have the ability? Some people, believe it or not, just want to have the video cameras to be able to see their pets, while they're at work during the day. Some people really want to be able to see, if that door opened if they're at work and they have a child in school, when the child came in, did they come home between the hours of 3 and 4 or 5, whatever it may be? They have a video image of that. So it really is, every customer has a different reason, but what I'm fundamentally trying to do is make sure that they're safe and they're secure, and that is our company model, is helping keep people safe. So the basic system will secure pretty much any house, and then it's just, once we've established that, I'm going into the levels of, do they need video? Do they not need video? Do they want to be able to remotely access the system or not? When it comes down to, the step number 9 talks about, closing a customer. I don't really, generally speaking, think of it as closing. I think if you've done your job correctly and you've covered off the security aspects, you've covered off the fire hazard aspects, the emergency services. If you need an ambulance, the old commercial, if you fall and you can't get up, that two-way voice is important. You have to, as a rep, you have to be observant in a customer's home. And do they have an elderly parent or grandparent that lives with them? And wouldn't it be nice, that two-way voice? If the grandfather needs to get a hold of the emergency services, it's right there. There's a call center right on with them. So
they kind of, so to speak, figure out what features you need to translate to benefit them.
Absolutely, Joe. And then all I'm really doing is I'm saying something, and it really sounds old. It sounds old school, but it just works in security. It's just, we have our engineers, our installers in the area tomorrow or the next day. I usually give them 2 dates. We do installs 4 times a day, and I give them the slots. We have a morning, a mid-morning, an afternoon, and an evening. We can do an install from 8 o'clock in the morning till just about 8 o'clock at night. We work on Saturdays and Sundays. So my close is a really subtle one, and it's really just asking them to buy, and it's more an assumptive. I'm asking them what day they'd like to be installed. So what I'm saying is, we can install you tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. If you're at a customer's house, and most cities in America, most cities that we're in, if you're at a customer's home in the morning, we can, generally speaking, accommodate an installation in the afternoon on the same day. Certainly, if not the following day. And the importance of that is we all know that customers have buyer's remorse. Customers change their mind. So it's in our best interest, the minute the customer has decided that they'd like to go with, Alliance, they'd like the free system, they agree to the monthly price for the system, for the police monitoring, you really want to get that system installed as soon as possible. You don't want to wait 2 weeks for an installation. So that's really how I close them. I cover off when I first come in, just to recap. If they have a system, I'm just I'm gathering information, for lack of a better word. I look at the panel. I look at what kind of system they have. I look at how old that system is. I then decide if it's a takeover, we're going to put a new keypad in. If it's a new system, I'm just covering off, in both scenarios, I'm covering off how an intruder would actually break in, and I'm physically walking around their home, with the customer. So you've got a garage door here. That could be a break-in. You've got a patio door in the back that needs a door contact or a motion detector. If you have a hallway and there's no way to get into it, you don't really need any equipment in there. But again, it's all the customer's choice. I leave it down to the customer. It's up to them what they want. I make my recommendations on how to minimally secure the household. I then take them through how they're going to use the system. Would you like to be able to see it remotely from work? Or on your iPhone or on your Android? That's this cost. Do you want the cameras, the ability to have a couple, 2? Generally speaking, we do 2 or 4 cameras in a household. Would you like cameras? Do you need cameras? Can you see, a scenario where you'd like that? it's in your best interest if the customer does want the full system at $67 per month or $64 per month, depending on what state you're in, to sell them the top system, because they can always downgrade that system. You don't really want to go in with the basic system and have them upgrade it. It's easier just to downgrade than to go up. And then the closing or the asking them to buy is simply just offering them an installation date. Again, the job is, what I say to a lot of people all the time is, it's not easy, but it's not hard. It's just work. It's just going out there, making 50 contacts. It's a common sense type job. There isn't really anything that's too difficult to be successful in this job. And then from that point, when a customer is now ready to, if they say to me, yeah, tomorrow morning is fine, or maybe Wednesday evening is probably better, at that point, what you do is you just call a toll-free number, and that's our credit check department. We credit check every customer. They have to have a minimum of 600 credit rating or above, and that's a very straightforward process. I just say, Mr. Customer, we're going to call up, run a consumer check, credit check. Is that okay with you? And I call the number. And from there, providing they pass their credit check, most homeowners will, if you're in the right demographic area, going back to previous step number 4. And then it's a very quick process. This process takes about 10 minutes or less. And they're going to arrange, Alliance are going to get onto the phone with the customer, with you in the home, preferably. Some of our reps do 3-way calls. Some, we're open from 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that would be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that credit check department is open right up till 9 o'clock at night. Some of our reps, if they don't do it right there in the home, they can do it on a 3-way call. They can just collect the information on the paperwork if they want and run the credit check. But the easiest way I've always found is run the credit check with the customer right there, pass the customer over to the confirmation department. The confirmation department is simply going to confirm what you've agreed with that customer. And if you've missed anything or anything, I think they're your best friend. For a new rep, they really are your best friend. If you've missed something in the equipment, if you've missed something with the customer, they're going to cover it off. So when the installer shows up, the job's going to go in correctly. And then it's right over to the installation department. So that's essentially the easiest close I think on the planet is, what day would you like to be installed? Moving on to number 10, which I believe we're on now, Joe, which is the common objections to and how to overcome them. This really comes to know-how. There aren't really any magic words, like I said. The number one objection I've ever come across is they'd like to think about it, and generally, and again, it's really how you say. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. It's how you deliver what you're about to say to a customer. I generally say, Mr. Customer, there's only really 2 things. I appreciate how you feel. However, maybe I haven't done my job correctly. I always take the responsibility myself. I always say it's down to me. Perhaps I haven't covered off my job. I haven't done something correctly. But really, there's only 2. So I'll backtrack. Have I covered this? Have I covered, the security aspect? We both agree. And there's simple little, psychology principles behind this. We both agree that you want to be safe and you want to keep your family safe. Isn't that true? And they'll generally say yes. We both agree that, having a smoke detector directly to the fire department would be, something that would keep your family safe. Isn't that true? And I'm looking for yes responses, so, and at the $49.99, which is one of our basic packages, I'll break that down to a daily amount, and it's in the region of $1.65 per day. And we both agree that $1.65 per day isn't really going to affect your standard of living or mine in any way, shape, or form. Isn't that true? It's the price of a cup of coffee, and you're delivering this in a conversational way. You're just having a conversation with the guy, so you're covering off the price. You're covering off first off the service, the security, the fire, the emergency services. And then you're covering off the price. We both agree the price. So, there's really only 2 things to think about when purchasing a security system. None of us have a crystal ball. We don't really know. If an intruder can break into your house the same as anyone else's house, and you never know what's going to happen, isn't that true? And they're going to say yes. 99.9% of people. And, having the peace of mind of a security system in your home, knowing that the police are on their way if there's an intruder, knowing that the fire department's on their way if there's a gas leak or, God forbid, a fire, that peace of mind is certainly worth $1.65 a day. Isn't that true? And generally speaking, they'll say yes. So then I'll go back to, again, we're doing isolations tomorrow morning or the following day. Now, that's if they have two things to think about. Sorry, if they say they just want to think about it. That's generally the objection I'll say. There's two things to think about. And I'll go back and recap everything. It doesn't necessarily mean that they all buy. They don't. And then the only other objection is cost, the price. If I'm against a competitor's price, I'll match that price. 99.9% of the time I'll match it. I'll do a price match. But I will point out in that price match that they're getting a higher level of service. So, for example, if you're against, a nationwide competitor that we all know, I won't name them, but if you're against them and they're selling at $45 a month or whatever it may be, I'll price match that. But I'll make sure that they know that they're getting a superior service. They're getting a fire detector. They're getting a CO2 connection. They're getting two-way voice. They're getting a secure GSM mobile signal. And I'll point out the benefits to the customer for the same price. Right. And that's really, you'll learn, there are some more on this call. I won't cover off everything. You'll learn them from your sales manager in the field. But that really is, the number one objection is they want to think about it, or the price. And when thinking about it, the other thing that I'll put in is, you can think about it as long as you want, but these things, they do happen. They're real life events. There are statistics out there. Some of our reps are armed with them. I don't know what they are, but, there are statistics on how many break-ins in America there are every day, how many people die in a fire every day, how many people die every year from carbon monoxide poisoning. So, these are real life events. They happen. We don't use them to scare people. We just use them to point out it can happen to anybody. And I'll always use that word, isn't that true? It can happen to anyone, isn't that true? It can happen to you. In the 2-week period, you might want to think about it, or 1 week, God forbid, something could happen. Isn't it really, worth $1.65 a day to get the system installed as soon as possible? So you have that peace of mind. Keeping in mind, we're not really selling equipment, although we are. What we're selling is peace of mind. You're selling someone that peace of mind and that feeling. And I've never, in the 20 years I've been doing this, when I walk away from a customer's home who has purchased the system, you do have a good feeling that they're a little bit more secure than they were before you came along. So keeping that in mind, you're selling peace of mind, and most people want it. So that's really number 10 in the success system, which brings us up to number 11. What's number 11, Joe?
Well, that's what can you do after you make the sale? Is there anything else you can do?
Sure, yeah. And always
perhaps capitalize on them being satisfied and liking what you offer.
Sure, yeah. It never ceases to amaze me how many salespeople don't do this, me included. And what I mean is ask for referrals. I generally, if I have a piece of paper or an order form or an iPad or an iPhone or whatever, I'll generally write it on the back of the form, or I'll have it as a reminder to ask for referrals. It just makes the job so much easier, as opposed to going after those 50 contacts every single day. Wouldn't it be nice to have 4 or 5 appointments per day, that your people you're going to see going around and working your 50 contacts? So the thing I say is when you consolidate a sale, psychologists have proven, they've done research studies, that people are more likely to offer you a referral at the point of sale. As soon as they've agreed to buy something or to have it installed, then they're more likely to give those referrals at that moment in time. So I'll always ask them, who do you know in the neighborhood? Do you have anyone in your neighbor, who in your family, brother or sister, any coworkers, any friends or family that could use a free security system, And you'd be surprised. Over the years, people like to because they like to feel that what they've purchased, they get some form of confirmation by someone else buying it. And it's a really strange psychological thing, but ask for referrals.
Right.
At the point of sale, when you've done everything and you've agreed the install date and it's all processed, paperwork's been signed, ask for referrals, and people will give them to you. The other thing you can do is, work around that neighborhood. So if you've just arranged installation for customer A at a certain address, make sure that you're knocking all the doors around that customer. Hey, I was just overseeing such and such customer, and ask the permission. You need to get their permission. Can you use their name? Is it all right just to say that you've agreed one?
Right.
And the other thing I would say that's of paramount importance is call them back on the installation day. And to call them, or our really good reps, will go by the house. Go by them, because we've got our van outside. It says Alliance. They're being installed. It's a great time to go to any of those customers who are maybe thinking about it. But certainly give them a call back and just say, hey, are you happy with the installation? Do you know anyone else? I mean, I've had people over the years that purchase systems for their own parents, elderly parents. Yeah, I think my mother should have a system in her house. That two-way voice is a great thing. And the fire department, she's getting a bit old, and certainly an intruder for a break-in. And I've had customers that will pay the monthly subscription for the fire and department and police department for their parents. So don't be afraid to ask. People will give you referrals. People like to give referrals. It just makes your job a lot easier. That brings us up to, we're almost at an hour here, Joe, so brings us up to number 12, which is
follow-ups after installation and anything else.
I think I just covered that off, to be honest. It's just the follow-up is just give them a call, make sure they're happy, and ask for referrals. The other thing I would say is if they're not happy, you are the local rep in their area. And we have, although we have a national reach, we like to think that we have a local presence. And the other thing that we like to say is that we're big enough to matter, but we're small enough to care. So you're that local guy. You don't have to. It's not your job. It's not in your job description. You are 1099, a self-employed person. But I would recommend, if a customer has a billing problem or they have any issue whatsoever after installation, that you see that as an opportunity for more business. So if you help them with a billing problem, which only takes a few minutes of your time to call up Alliance, then they're more likely at that point to give you another referral. So, follow up, certainly give them a call when they're installed, but if they have any other issues, I would recommend take a bit of ownership and responsibility, and own that customer. You'll eventually get, when you're in the job, where your phone is ringing with referrals every week, and that's where we all want to be. So those are our 12 steps for success. And then the only other thing I would say, Joe, is after, you don't learn them all at once. It's a progressive thing. Over a period of time, you'll pick up little bits of them. But if you then just repeat them again. So it's step 1 through 12, repeat them, at the beginning of the following day. Have the right attitude on the doorstep. Have prior preparation to what you're going to be doing in terms of your activities for the day. Make sure you're wearing the right clothing, either the company supplied clothing or just a shirt and tie. Make sure you're in the right demographic areas. If you're in the wrong areas, you're not going to be successful. Make sure you work the hours. Don't kid yourself. If you're only going to put in so many hours, then, maybe half that 5 sales per week. But make sure you do put the hours in that you need, to be successful. Make sure you make the right amount of contacts per day. Make sure that you start to learn from your sales manager or from the training material the things to say on the doorstep. Just put a smile on your face. People, like to speak to happy people. What are your objectives? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get an appointment on the doorstep? Are you trying to get in the home on the spot? Some of these things you'll learn as you go. Some people will just let you come on right in and do a survey. Some people might say, we'll come back at 6. I would take advantage of that. Anyone that asks you to come back, make an appointment there on the spot. All the things that you say when you're inside the home, you'll learn as you go along. The common objections and how to overcome them. Number 11, which is, what to do after making a sale. Ask for referrals. Always ask for referrals. Number 12 is, the follow-up. If you go through these 12 steps every day and then just repeat them the following day, you will be successful. We've got reps earning $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, $5,000. If some reps are earning $7,000, $10,000 a week, it really depends on the work ethic and your commitment to desire to succeed. and to follow these steps. You can do it. You can do anything you like. You don't have to follow these things. But I would say, guys that have been really successful with our company over a long period of time have developed this system, and they pretty much stick pretty close to this. And then it's just a repeating process. They do it day in, day out. And that's really pretty much it for me. I don't know if you have any other questions, Joe, or I know that you're brand new and you've been in the field for only 1 week. I understand that you've made one sale in the week, but also 4 other sales or 4 other contacts that look to be pretty good. So in your first week, you've earned $1,000, possibly more, but you've also got 3 or 4 people to go back into the following week. So you've had a great week. You've had it with no sales experience whatsoever, just by following these success steps.
Right. And the main help with me was pretty much attitude, because the sale was actually the very last stop of the night. The last one.
Wow.
So if I were to have given up and just said, I only have 1 more to go, I just screw it. If I did that, I wouldn't have made that money and made that sale. So you just got to stay at it and not give up, because it comes at the last second when you don't expect it.
It really is. I mean, attitude is the they used to say that attitude is the little difference that makes the big difference. It's little hinges that swing on big doors. It's everything. That's why it's step number 1. If you don't have the right attitude when you go out to work in the field, and I'll be honest, it's hard, to keep that attitude. But if you consciously keep that, if you don't have that, none of the other steps make any difference. You're absolutely right. But if you have the right attitude, you'll learn all these other steps. They'll fall into place as you go, because they're just common sense. They're really processes, as opposed to keeping. And people like to buy off of people that have a good attitude as well. So that is key. Go out there, know that you're doing a service in the community. I've never ever thought of this as really selling anything at all. People want to have a safe, secure home. They want to know that that they want that peace of mind. Unfortunately, we live in a country now where there's a lot of crime out there, and it's only getting worse. So we're in almost, I like to say, a recession-proof industry where, as it gets worse out there, our business gets better, unfortunately. But we're selling peace of mind. We're giving away a system on the doorstep or over the phone, however you're doing it, that's giving people the peace of mind. If you keep that attitude right, you'll be successful in this business. So anyway, thank you for your time, Joe, and I wish you every great success with our company.
All right. Thank you for taking the time out of your day as well, Vince.
No problem. Take care.
You too.